Well, I was very happy with that decision, Jim. I think it's the fair thing. Our country stands for equality and fairness and non-discrimination, and I think that we're moving in the right direction with that decision. I think the polls have indicated have really come around to the issue of marriage equality, and it was interesting that it was really sort of a conservative argument about why it was good to do away with it, and they even mentioned the stability of the family and how for the children to not suffer this discrimination that sometimes they feel from a same-sex couple, and so from how their peers perceive that relationship. So I think it's a step in the right direction, and I think that the American people are coming around on that issue, and Florida is coming around on that as well.
What about the Republican Party? Are they going to start coming around on the issue?
Well, sometimes issues take a long time to gel and people coalesce around them. For me, it was a learning experience as well, and just like I have come around on this issue, there are others as well. So slowly but surely we'll get to the kind of society where people are accepting, people understand that the marriage equality is a positive value, and I'm very positive about the way that this issue is bringing America together.
Do you mind sharing a little about how you came around on the issue?
Well, I think with our kids, of course, they're young adults now. That generation, they look at this issue as not a problem because they're thinking it seems so antiquated to them, and in just in a short period of time we've done away with don't ask, don't tell, and you can be openly gay and serve in the military, and people thought, well, the sun is surely not going to come up the next day, but it did in fact, and we've had brave patriots who are shedding blood for us, and maybe they're gay and maybe they're straight, but we're finding out that their sexual orientation is not really one of the criteria that we use to determine whether you're fit for duty, and if you're willing to serve, we should be encouraging that. So we've seen it in every segment of society doing with discriminatory practices, but we still have a long way to go, Jim. That's why I'm a proud supporter of ENDA, the Ending Discrimination Act. And people don't know that in today's society, in jobs everywhere, just about, you can be fired for being gay. And that's not a lawsuit waiting to happen. I mean, it is not a protected class, and it means that if somebody finds out, if your employer finds out that you're gay, you can be let go. So I think that doesn't really say great things about our American values. So that's a good Supreme Court decision about DOMA, but we still have other legislation that we need to pass.
Let's talk about the Voting Rights Act, that decision. The Supreme Court pretty much cut the idea of pre-clearance, and really what they sort of did was turn the ball back over to Congress and say, if you want to revive, the Voting Rights Act, Congress needs to come up with a new formula to sort of decide. Do you think Congress should take up the issue?
I think we should. We should have hearings. We should have people testify. Maybe we need it. Maybe we don't. We need to have hearings because for us to think that racial discrimination, for example, no longer applies, that's not necessarily true, and it's not true in many pockets of American society. And some of these laws, like the Voting Rights Act, is to make sure that people are treated fairly, that districts are drawn fairly, that no one is being pushed aside. So we should have hearings on it, we should examine it, and let's see how we can fashion a law that meets today's needs.
Up next, immigration reform.